Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guests, how often do you drive around town and you see someone that's holding a sign, veteran, out of work, and homeless? Anything that you can provide will be greatly appreciated. You find yourself asking yourself, in this technological age of automation, how can this be? According to figures given to us from the Department of Veterans Affairs, there's 10,400 Iraqi and Afghanistan war veterans that come back, that has recently come back from serving overseas, that are living in temporary housing or receiving federal vouchers for payments for their rental properties. There are more than 2,400 nonprofit organizations that has to service these veterans, these 10,476 veterans. So you might ask yourself, why is so many out there? It's because some of those veterans are falling through the cracks. I'd like to talk to you about the Veterans Homeless Prevention Demonstration Program. I gave you a brochure on your desk. It's a federal program that offers early intervention for these veterans to prevent homelessness and to provide primary services for these veterans that's coming back from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. I'm going to first elaborate on risk factors that causes homelessness. Then I'm going to elaborate on eligibility requirements for the program. Then finally, the short and long-term services that we provide. I'm going to begin by telling you the risk factors that can lead to homelessness amongst these veterans. There's cutbacks in these programs. As a result, in these cutbacks in these programs, these veterans are finding it hard for transportation because they're not provided with automobile repairs or bus vouchers to get them back and forth to their appointments. There's also a lack of motivation from these veterans because they are apprehensive to utilize our services. Another thing is that these veterans, they don't meet their job referral appointments. As a result, the employer is not employing these veterans because they're not meeting their required appointments. Now, showing you some of the risk factors that's involved that can lead to homelessness, the next thing I want to explain is that the eligibility requirements. The eligibility requirements for this program, unfortunately, these veterans have to have an eviction notification. Also, that they're 30 days behind in their rent or utilities. Also, that 90 days or less that they've been homeless. Chronically homeless veterans do not apply to this particular program, but we have other community services for these veterans. We service all veterans, but for this particular program, we're focusing on those veterans that's returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. Finally, I explained the veteran guidelines of eligibility requirements, so let's consider the short and long-term services that's provided by this program. The short term is that we provide rental assistance to prevent eviction of these veterans. Utility assistance to prevent service interruption for these veterans. And family services such as child care. And also counseling services for those veterans that's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorders, reintegration problems when they come back from war zones, and marriage and family counseling. Because you'll find that these veterans have gone through traumatic, stressful situations overseas. The long-term services that we provide is that we give them a listing of affordable housing, because we work closely with housing and urban development that provides affordable housing for these veterans. We have budget planning that's done by the case managers that's provided to these veterans from the Veterans Administration Service, free of charge to these veterans. We also encourage them to take part in those job referrals that we provide for them, because what we're trying to do for these veterans is help them to become self-sufficient, and also with housing stabilization. In conclusion, you can easily see the Veterans Homeless Prevention Demonstration Program project provides services to help veterans achieve a greater level of housing stabilization and self-sufficiency. I serve as the outreach specialist for this program. I educate the public, I educate the military service members, and I also educate their family members. In conclusion, I would like to leave you with a short message. The primary focus of my program is to prevent another cycle, as you often see on the corner. Majority of those veterans are Vietnam veterans. We're trying to break the cycle with these wartime veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. The goal of the program is for housing stabilization and self-sufficiency for these veterans through Department of Labor to help these veterans with jobs, also with housing and urban development to get these veterans affordable housing, and with the Department of Veteran Affairs to provide these veterans with both mental and physical medical services and other services. So I provided you with those pamphlets, so if you see a veteran on the street corner, on the back, there's a number of a coordinator. I'm the outreach specialist for these veterans. We service the veterans in 4 counties: Hillsborough County, Pasco County, Polk County, and Hernando County. In those counties, I have learned here recently through the housing and urban development that these veterans here in the Hillsborough area, believe it or not, we have a high population of homeless civilians and a high population of military veterans that's come back from the war. In this region of the United States, this is the 10th largest in the nation of homelessness, both service members and civilians. Thank you.
All right.